and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at some recently released photographs and images from House of the Dragon, which is fast approaching its release date. Not fast enough. So this is from Screen Rant, and I'm just going to put myself straight down. We'll have a look at them. It's a short piece, won't be a long video. But just as I said before, as soon as I get every bit of news I can, I'm just releasing a video on this because I'm so up for this show. It bodes very well. So despite the ending of Game of Thrones. So straight into it then. So here we are. House of the Dragon images should ease Game of Thrones fans' Targaryen concerns. It should be said that the House of the Dragon is Targaryen centric, so it's going to be their story, whereas sort of Game of Thrones had a sprawling base and concentrated on all of the families. This one is sort of specific to one. I'm sure the others. I'm sure we will see Lannisters and so on, but this is mainly House Targaryen. So, here we go. House of the Dragon images reveal better looks at the show's main characters and should further ease any concerns over the Game of Thrones spin-off. And here we have Paddy Considine and Matt Smith, both looking particularly Targaryen-ish. Targaryen-like? Targaryen-esque? I don't know. What would the adjective be? Anyway, several House of the Dragon images should ease any lingering concerns over the Targaryen-centric Game of Thrones spin-off. One of the biggest shows of all time, Game of Thrones, had its fair share of controversy. Well, only with season 8. I mean, up to that point, it was fine. Oh, and then there was that one episode, weren't there, where there was a ginger crooner in it that really sort of pushed out and destroyed the episode. I grant you he's a talented singer, but he had no place being there. That was particularly true of the backlash of Game of Thrones Season 8. God, that needs rebuilt. Remake it. And while House of the Dragon very much aims to be its own unique show that builds a fresh identity, albeit one built upon the foundations laid by its parent series, it also isn't without obstacles to overcome. Yeah, Season 8 is the biggest obstacle. One of the biggest hurdles for House of the Dragon is the response to Game of Thrones ending. Although the show will likely be a big hit regardless because it is such a recognised and, until Season 8, widely acclaimed IP, there is still a sense of needing to win back those left so disappointed in the conclusion. Yes, and I was one of them. But as I've said, I'm actually prepared to give this a go. I'm prepared to dip my toe back into the water, provided they get it right and give us a decent ending when the time comes. Given the show is telling a story centred around Targaryens, then it especially means Daenerys' fate, the most divisive of all the finale's aspects, could hang over proceedings. More specific to House of the Dragon still, Matt Smith's casting as Daemon Targaryen proved controversial, with the complaints that he wasn't a good fit for the role. He is a good fit, though, I think. He's such a good actor. I can't see that there's anything wrong with him. I didn't think he'd be any good at Doctor Who when they first announced him. Wow, was I wrong. Anyway, much like the teaser released in 2021, the House of the Dragon images, released by HBO in March 2022, should go some way to easing concerns over the Game of Thrones spin-off. The images, which focus on all of House of the Dragon's main characters in turn, Paddy Considine as King Viserys, Matt Smith as Daemon, Emma Darcy as Princess Rhaenyra, and more, give a good look at what to expect in terms of how these characters are brought to life. And thankfully it looks pretty great. And they have a good look about them, I must be honest. It's like they actually have sort of taken great care with the look. There's a real sense of the forging its own identity while being respectful and fitting with what Game of Thrones did, and it should be clear that any doubts over Smith or anyone else, even Considine, given he doesn't naturally suggest Targaryen casting, are well suited to the parts. Yeah, I mean, Paddy Considine is sort of a dark-haired, slightly swarthy-skinned Irishman, not the sort of natural choice, I suppose, for a Targaryen, but he looks pretty good. And in fact, the whole look, I think, is particularly sort of elvish. I'm pretty sure that's deliberate. That sort of that long flowing hair, the sort of the nobility of their look, the clothing particularly. It's just got that elvish air about it, which kind of works. Kind of works. Considine, who was somewhat hidden from the House of the Dragons teaser trailer, looks superb as Viserys. And even more so, Smith looks every inch the rogue prince he's supposed to be as Daemon Targaryen. Even in a still image, believed as someone who could charm one moment and kill the next. A great amount of care and detail has gone into getting House of the Dragons Targaryen aesthetics right. The costuming, always a strength of Game of Thrones too, gives the house a more fully formed identity that the show's never completely allowed for, with the clear red and black detailing on Daemon and Rhaenyra in particularly nicely setting up the show's Targaryen civil war, The Dance of the Dragons, in which their side is labelled the Blacks, based on gowns worn by Rhaenyra and Olivia Cook's Alicent, who leads the Greens, a colour she's shown wearing here. Let me just pop it back up, and there we are. Details like 7-pointed star on Alicent's necklace point to her close ties to the faith of the Seven, considered by Viserys advisors to be an advantage of their marriage, and Viserys himself appears to wield the cat's paw dagger, a neat Game of Thrones connection that shows a relatively subtle approach to Easter eggs that fits cleanly within the story. Corlys Velaryon and Rhaenys Targaryen stand together, the only pair in this batch of images who, again, look fantastic, which nicely highlights the show getting their strong relationship and unity right. I'll just pop up and we'll have another look at that. Yes, and again, they look good. I think the show's just looking good generally. The images feel like something Game of Thrones could have done, but its intricacies and ornate detailing also helps it stand apart as a whole other era of Westeros. Ultimately, House of the Dragon's images suggest a show operating at a high level of craft and showcase just how great the casting options are for these characters. It's not a confirmed sign that it will be good, of course, but it definitely points things further in the right direction. And it's got to be better than Season 8. So yes, I am absolutely looking forward to this. I genuinely think that when this comes out, this will be coming out and beating Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I think the Rings of Power are derivative. I believe this, whilst it has to be derivative of Game of Thrones, it's still an original story. Whereas the Rings of Power are based very loosely on a few pages scribbled at the back of one of the books. And then a massive amount of sort of freehand has been given filling in gaps. Whereas this can be completely original. And I think it's going to be better. I think this is where... How can we put this? The Battle of the Dragons is not something that will be concerned so much with House of the Dragon. The Battle of the Dragons is really between Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, the two franchises. And I think Game of Thrones may well win this one. But anyway, I'll come up and we'll round off. Yep, well, we have what, the 21st of August? We will find out for sure whether this is any good. It's looking good. I think the visuals are spot on. I think it's like anything. You'll watch the first episode. Everyone will watch the first episode. And it's the key here will be retention to second episode. And I think the retention here will be a higher retention rate than it will with Rings of Power, number one. I think also, number two, it will be generally more successful across the board. And I think it could go some way to repairing the damage that Season 8 did. We want to hope so. I really do want to hope so. But I am so excited about it. Like I say, 21st of August, I will be sitting there waiting all of a dither till I hear the opening music. We don't know what the opening music will be. It's bound to be different from the Game of Thrones tune, of course. But similar, I suspect, to maintain that kind of circularity between the series. But yeah, Hurry up, hurry up. Come on, quicker, quicker, quicker. And we'll get there. Anyway, thanks for watching this. I know a lot of people are excited about it, so yeah, let's keep the excitement up. Let's keep the momentum going. And as I say, every time I hear new stuff, I'll put out a video about it. But that's enough for this one. So, if you like what you see and hear on this channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.